In the small, dusty village of Rampur lived a boy named Ryu. He was young, smart, and had dreams as big as the sky. But his habits? Well, they were heavier than a sleeping buffalo on a hot summer afternoon. Every single morning his mother would shout, "Ryu, wake up. The sun is already scorching the ground." And Ryu, turning over, would mumble, "Just 5 more minutes, Ma." Those 5 minutes always turned into another hour. Ryu often talked about his big dreams. He admired the successful people in the nearby town, the shopkeeper who opened his store before sunrise, the respected school teacher, even the constable who walked with such pride. Ryu wanted that life. He wanted respect, stability, and success. But for Ryu, wanting something and actually doing something were two very different things. He'd decide to exercise, then skip it the next day. He'd promise to study hard, then be found flying kites on the roof, his books gathering dust. Ryu had all the ambition in the world, but zero discipline. And without discipline, dreams have a way of quietly fading away. One evening, wandering aimlessly, Ryu passed a small house at the edge of the village. This was the home of Gopal Kaka, a retired army man. Everyone in Rampur knew him, not because he was a big talker, but because of how he lived his life. Every single morning, at exactly 4 o'clock, Gopal Kaka would wake up. He'd sweep his courtyard, do push-ups, read for a while, and then work in his garden. Rain or shine, winter or summer, his routine never, ever changed. Ryu was curious. One day, he finally built up the courage to ask, "Kaka, why do you do the same things every single day? You're retired. You don't have a boss or school to go to. Isn't it boring?" Gopal Kaka smiled, wiping the sweat from his forehead. He looked at Ryu calmly and said, "Beta, habits are like seeds. What you plant today grows tomorrow. You might not see anything at first, but one day, your habits will either feed you or starve you." Ryu nodded, but he didn't fully understand. Still, those words stuck with him. That night, he lay awake, thinking about all the times he had started something and then quit. All the plans that never became reality. He started to wonder, what if success wasn't about luck or talent? What if it was just about simple habits, repeated every single day? The next morning, something unusual happened in Ryu's house. Before the sun was even up, Ryu forced himself out of bed. His body begged him to go back to sleep. His mind rattled off 100 excuses, but he remembered Gopal Kaka's words. He splashed cold water on his face, tied his shoes, and stepped outside to run. After just a couple hundred meters, his chest was on fire and his legs were shaking. It felt like he'd run across a desert, but he didn't stop. He slowed down to a walk, but he kept moving forward. The next day, he ran again, and the next. By the end of that first week, his legs still ached, but something inside him had shifted. He felt a little stronger, a little more confident. Encouraged, he added one more habit: studying for 1 hour every day. No excuses, no big announcements. He didn't tell his friends or post about it. He just showed up day after day for himself. Weeks turned into months. One evening, as Ryu was resting under the old banyan tree, he realized something strange. He was smiling for no reason. His body felt lighter. His mind felt sharper. He had energy that lasted the whole day. Discipline had quietly, without any fanfare, become a part of him. One of his friends, Sanu, noticed the change. "Ryu, what happened to you? You used to be the king of laziness." Ryu just laughed and said, "I didn't change overnight. I just repeated small actions every day until they became a part of who I am." Soon after, a notice for a government job opening arrived in the village. It required passing both a physical fitness test and a written exam. Many boys from the village applied. Some were overconfident, others were a nervous wreck. Ryu applied too, but with a quiet sense of calm. On the day of the physical test, the whistle blew. Everyone started running. Many of the boys sprinted ahead, full of energy, but soon they slowed down, gasping for breath. Ryu just maintained a steady pace. He wasn't the fastest, but he didn't stop. The months of habit were carrying him forward now. When his motivation started to fade, his discipline took over. He cleared the physical test. Next up was the written exam. While others were trying to cram everything at the last minute, Ryu stayed calm. That 1 hour of daily study, compounded over months, had built a rock-solid foundation. He passed that test too. Weeks later, a letter arrived at his home. "Congratulations, you have been selected." Ryu just stood there, his hands trembling as he held the paper. His mother looked at him, confused. With tears welling up in his eyes, he whispered, "Ma, your son did it." She hugged him tightly, both of them crying with pride. The whole village celebrated his success, but perhaps the happiest person of all was Gopal Kaka. He just smiled and said, "See, beta, motivation is what gets you started, but it's your habits that keep you going when your strength fades." And that's the real lesson here. Big change doesn't come from making big, empty promises. It comes from the small, consistent habits you practice every single day. Not just once, not for a week, but until they become a part of who you are. You don't need to change your entire life today. Just start small. Walk for 10 minutes. Read 5 pages. Do 10 push-ups. Wake up just 15 minutes earlier. You write your habits, and in doing so, you write your future. Choose them wisely, because small steps, repeated daily, will always lead to massive change. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.